What's good, YouTube? It's Sinclair Gray. I'm the mangaka of I Heart Genie, and I've been thinking about doing this for a while. There are a lot of why the anime and manga industry is dying, and personally, I don't think it's gonna die. It's gonna change, and this is some of my reasons why I survive. But before I go over that, let's talk about why the anime and manga industries are pretty much dying here in America. Japan, enough said. First of all, borders, when they closed, had 600 stores, had 600 places where you could not buy any more manga or anime. And pretty much pirate sites, it's very obvious. It's like, okay, why read it? If I can read it for free, why would I pay for it? Now, personally, I pay for it because I'm an artist. I'm like, I want to get paid for my work. And if I'm not being paid for my work, there's not much of what I can do but to sue my own fans, and I don't really want to do that. But if I'm a corporate entity, I'm losing millions of dollars because of pirate sites, and I have no other choice. I'm going to sue my fans. The effect is getting everything free, and they're pretty much going to have to hire translators and mass release everything at the same time. Because if you really can't, if you don't have the money, like, say, Disney, to sue people and to hold that lockdown, you're going to lose a lot of money. A lot of the big name publishers don't have great business plans. And in the annotation right here, Akamatsu, he's one of the #1 mangakas in the world. He did Love, Hina, and Nejima, which I just now completed, a little late. But him and another industry giant are sitting there talking about the changes, and he puts it point blank. He's no holds barred. He has probably the most realistic idea what's gonna happen to the manga industry, but it's also it's like this is it. This is gonna be the end if certain steps does not happen. And as I was reading it, I was just like, wow, this is the guy who, inspired me to want to do this. And he's saying this. So, you have to read all 5 pages and then swallow it and then figure out what you want to do as a fan, as a mangaka, as a publisher. Now, for some people who just pay attention to anime and you completely ignore the American comic book industry, let me get rid of some of your ignorance. And that's not to be rude. The American comic book industry went through 5 eras: the Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, and the Modern Age, or it could be called the Dark Ages. We're between ages. We're leaving the Golden Age and we're going to a Silver Age where, the fan base is going to obviously be smaller because, you had a lot of people get in because of Pokemon and DBZ, and then they kind of grew out of it, and a lot of people did not grow out of it. So we're going into like a digital age where it's going to be a bit smaller for a while. Some genres will die because most people will say, oh, American comic book is all about superheroes. Is nothing new. But if you go back to the Golden Age, they had romance, they had monster stories, like how manga and anime has right now. Some of those are probably going to go away, and I like wtih, and that's pretty much what some of mine's going to be. So even if that's not mainstream, that's something I'm also going to do, but I'm also going to do other things. Now, I see Meg and Shonen staying around, but like Yuri and Yao, they might die off. You might just be able to find on the internet or whatever. Just don't really expect any DVDs coming in the next 10 years on a regular basis. Sorry about that if you can hear that. So here's some of my predicted changes. One is that as an artist, you're gonna have to release multiple titles a year, and I say that because if you look at the music industry in America, you really necessarily don't need a label. So it's getting to the point where you won't really need a publisher, because there's a webcomic called Menage a Trois. They get 1 million unique viewers a day when they update. And this is a free manga that you can read. Now, if you're not 18, don't click the annotation. And this lady, she just draws 8 hours a day and she did multiple spin-offs, so she's drawing maybe 6 different ones a day. Yes, it's not a full chapter, it's gag a day, but as a mangaka, I figure I'm gonna go ahead, have my first one up, make a huge buffer, so that maybe once a month I can release a chapter of each one. So I'll release 6 chapters simultaneously, just from different series. That way you can get a broad fan base. More episodes per DVD release. They're too expensive. It's like I can go buy an entire season of Family Guy for $49.99 at my local Walmart. And if some of you are saying, how are you able to do that? I live in South Carolina. Everything's cheaper. And another thing, more colored mangas. Now it's pretty much if you're just a single artist doing everything by yourself, you're really gonna have to start thinking about costs. It's like, okay, you can get away with doing 3 colors per page. So you can sit there, draw 5 pages in one day, ink on the next day, color, and then letter. And pretty much I prefer colored pages better than black and white. There's no problem with it. It's just that since the manga industry is breaking down, some things are going to change, because there are a lot of webcomic makers who release every day full colored pages, and it's really high quality. Some of them are whatever, but you're pretty much going to have to go to different sites like Comic Fury, Keen Spot, Manga Magazine, and place your work all over the place, especially if you're starting out like I am, and you might have like a really small fan base, but thinking, oh, I'm gonna get my manga, I'm gonna get a TV show, I'm gonna do all these deals. Those days pretty much are over right now. Now I could be completely wrong, but this is the cold hard facts. Those days are over. Unless you draw the next DBZ or Naruto, don't really expect to have your own anime come out unless you start your own anime little studio like on YouTube. Wild or Survive. Walmart's actually carrying some titles, and that's pretty big, so they're pretty much gonna fill in the void of Borders. It's like I said before, Manga Magazine is a good place to start. Also, J Kami, I believe, started by Ken, where you can read and translate all kinds of manga, so artists will be able to make more money that way. Some publishers actually may start to buy titles, hire people to make certain titles, so they can I don't want to say like a reboot like Superman does every year, where they start the story over. It's have a title that can keep going, so they can keep their paying their bills and have money to bring in more artists, to bring you some more stories. Digital sales are actually increasing. It's like, okay, now you have either like an Android phone or iPhone. These companies get together and make one giant manga app where you can read different mangas, and I guess have advertisements or have like a dollar subscription, because there's some websites where you pay $1 a month and you can read as much as you want. So pretty much you're paying $12 a year and you can read, let's say for example, all of Naruto and Dragon Ball Z. That's significantly cheaper for you, and it's significantly cheaper to produce, because now they don't have a printing cost. You don't have to worry about ink, you don't have to worry about distributing. All you have to do, make the work, put it on the internet, and go. But thanks for tuning in. These are my predictions of what's going to happen to the manga anime industry. This is my first Mangaka rant. Not really rant, more of it's a rant. Check out I Heart Genie. Stay tuned. Subscribe. It's free.